My name is Victoria Schdeva. I've graduated from University of Aberdeen in 2021. So during the COVID times, currently I work at FactSet, a financial software data provider, and I am based in London.
Thank you very much. Why did you choose University of Aberdeen?
So I was raised in Czech Republic, and I remember I really wanted to move to an English-speaking country, being a person of third cultures. I'm my family, they are half Russian, half Indian. So growing up in Czech, I was like, oh, I really want to be in an international place somewhere where I can meet people with a similar backgrounds or so. And Scotland was definitely on my radar. And Aberdeen, out of all universities, I remember searching for a program that had a variety of kind of like courses in business, finances, economics, accountancy. Because obviously, when you're 18, what do you know about like business versus finance versus economics? Like, no, of course, you don't know much. Maybe you do if you're lucky, but in my case, I was really confused. So I studied master economics, a master in accountancy and economics. So it's not master's, it's actually bachelor, but kind of
Yes.
position in Aberdeen. And that degree covered a variety of all these kind of subjects and gave a really good introduction in it. And I think that was one of the main reasons I decided to pursue Aberdeen, because I knew I'm going to get a good kind of exposure, and then I can tailor my courses based on what I want to study.
Thank you, Ryan. That's very interesting. And what were some of your favorite memories from Aberdeen?
Oh, it's obviously after 4 years, there's so many memories. And when you go through university, it's like fluctuation of it. But I think starting off, obviously, the personal growth, the development of, being independent, moving away from parents, family, meeting friends. I think I was lucky I studied before COVID.
Yeah.
So I've experienced Freshers Week, all the fairs and all the wine galas, and I've met beautiful people from all different cultures and societies. So I think from that side, I really loved Aberdeen and the community there. Some favorite memories, I went for exchange to Hong Kong. So I studied at Lingnan University for half a year, my second year, which was good time as well, because it was just before the protest started in Hong Kong, before
Mhm.
COVID. So it was very wholesome year in that side. Met again a lot of people. And then, even during COVID, when times got crazy, Aberdeen being such a beautiful location. I mean, it's a granite city. I manage expectations here, but being by the sea and the nature, it was very, you had a lot of space. Like being during COVID in London, for example, would be much tougher. But being during COVID in Aberdeen with the community that your friends and
Yeah.
stuff, and you're able still to go to the sea, go for a run, do your thing. I think that was as well a good highlight if you can think of positive things during that time.
Thank you very much. And did you participate in any student organizations or clubs?
Yes, I actually did. In my first year, I tried my best to, because the best thing to do during uni is you have to get yourself out of comfort zone. Otherwise, it's
Mhm.
tough to make friends. And even though if you can make friends during your lecture classes, it's good to get out to different activities. So I tried archery. I think I've done a lot of social ones. So I went to I think it was like Russian community or Russian speaking community. I think that's based better because most of my friends ended up being from Latvia either way. So then the Indian, Pakistani community, there's as well the Arabic community, the South American. So I loved going to all the different events. I remember having so many Bulgarian friends who introduced me to the traditional Bulgarian dancing, or having some Polish friends. So it's just those activities where had a lot of international interactions, and they always had movie nights, lunches, buffet
Yeah.
dinners, so many things. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you. What were your initial career aspirations as a student at University of Aberdeen? How have they changed?
I think, when you're quite young and you have no clue what you're doing, but you just see everyone else in the flow on LinkedIn, when you talk to people, everyone is pursuing a giant career, ambitious. And you're questioning yourself, like, how do I know? Do I want to go into business? Do I want to be a doctor? Do I want this? So sometimes it's tough to be in that between lines. So I definitely felt like I know I want to do something with finance, something maybe in economics, but I wasn't particularly sure what I want to do. So I just followed the float, not gonna lie. And I just taught myself, whatever comes my way, I'll apply whatever sounds interesting. And then when I start working, I'll understand the industry a little bit better. And from there, I could start developing skills. And currently, like with my current position, I work in sales. And so I started off more working on projects and working day to day simple stuff. But now I moved on and developed skills that tell me that maybe I should be more client facing and more in that field. So, you know what I mean? It's essentially my progress was probably going to the industry directly and then making sense of it rather than when I was at university, because it's a bit hard in that sense.
Thank you. What did you enjoy the most about your degree?
I think that what I mentioned earlier about the courses. So I studied accountancy and economics, but in my first year, I remember I had classes for business, I had courses business, accountancy, finance, real estate, marketing, variety of all of them put together. And then while studying for exams and going through this, you kind of make sense. Oh, now it makes sense. I can see the difference between all these modules. And then being later on in my fourth year, or third year as well, tailoring because with the first 2 years, you kind of have exposure to everything. And then in the third, fourth year, I had an opportunity. I focused mainly accountancy economics, but even there I could tailor it. Let's say I could go and study econometrics and what sort of accountancy, management accountancy or further. So it was, I think the opportunity to be flexible, I really appreciated that, and variety of knowledge I got as well.
That's great, thank you. And did you participate in any internships or part-time jobs?
I did. I definitely worked part-time because that's something in comparison, let's say, the Czech system, being able to study and work at the same time is a benefit in UK because your schedule is flexible. And even if, let's say, you can't make a lecture, I mean, please don't tell this official, but sometimes it's okay. You can catch up. You can find a way. You can reach out to your lecturer, or as long as you make your seminars and further. But so I did work in I think it was Claire's. I work at Trinity Center, somewhere in Union Square. I worked a couple of jobs there. I also, in my second year, I did have internship with Aberdeen University. I was part of the real estate team helping with procurement. So that was quite interesting because it was actually my first office experience within Aberdeen. It was interesting. It was very different environment as well from the corporate world because it's a public organization as well in that sense. So, and the team was always so friendly and lovely. That was nice.
It's very nice. Can you explain your current responsibilities at your current position?
Yes, of course. So my current positions, I am a account executive at FactSet. So essentially, it's a starting sales position as who essentially overlooking client relationship and managing the commercial aspects of it. So that includes building relation with our clients, assisting them with their long-term strategy building, highlighting where FactSet could perhaps be a benefit or not, and helping them in their long-term efficiency, I would say, put it this way. So overlooking contracts, overlooking clients' relation, escalating, maybe assisting with something they have. So it's more sales-orientated and commercial relationship. But to get to that position, the way it works at FactSet, you start off in consulting role, which you kind of support the client day to day with trainings, projects. So it's like you're part of their team. And that's essentially was my growth at FactSet. I started off as a consultant, so I was helping on day-to-day projects. And then I progressed to the sales side where I assist with overlooking the commercial relationship, but together, obviously, with account managers. So there's multiple layers to it.
That's very impressive. And how does FactSet differentiate itself from other companies in the financial data market?
Yeah. So FactSet is a financial data software provider. So essentially, one thing you see in the industry, what many providers do, they would provide one platform to the client at one cost, and the platform is fixed, it's not customizable, and it doesn't allow clients to be very efficient, or sometimes being able to be flexible. Where FactSet does have a strong position in the industry is that we offer open technologies. So we offer on-platform solution, but off-platform as well. And then I would separate in two parts. In platform solutions, we offer customizable flexibility to choose applications and solutions you need. So instead of a client getting the whole set, they decide, okay, we need risk, we need performance, we need reporting. We just want those. We don't need anything else. They can choose and customize and pay for what they actually need, helping them to be more efficient in their own workflow. But also you have clients who don't need anything on platform. They actually need off platform. They need data. They need APIs. They want to build up their own AI technologies, so models. So that's where FactSet helps out as well, because we provide outside of platform, we can customize it for the client as per their own need. So I think that is the strongest point. And then also we're quite on top of what's happening in industry, AI being the buzzword, ESG being the buzzword. We are releasing applications and speak and present to clients about it. Just this week alone, I went to see clients in Bristol and Brighton. It's my travel around the UK week to see clients. And I was presenting to them a little bit more about our AI solutions and what we're doing, and they're really excited to see it. So I think that's where they see our strength in that sense. And also what I mentioned, the consulting aspect, every client gets consulting support, depending on their levels, obviously how largely they integrated FactSet, but having a consultant as coming from FactSet helping you essentially means someone who is like your team member, is there to support you with trainings, with projects. And I feel like a lot of clients, based on their other providers, sometimes they don't have that support. And I think it really changes from the vendor client relationship to more like partnership.
Yes.
So I think that's where, at least working in FactSet, I personally see that.
That's very interesting. Thank you. And how did you manage to get the job at FactSet?
Yeah, so I actually, this question is quite interesting because it reminded me, I found the job through Aberdeen University career website. Yeah, I recall, because at that point, last year of uni, it was COVID. I was writing my thesis in economics, and I was like, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? So going to that website, I remember I saw different opportunities and I was like, okay, FactSet, that sounds interesting. Let me take a look into it. And not going to lie, I don't think I really fully understood at the time what financial services provider entailed, because I don't feel like there's much of understanding sometimes. And, in a broader young kind of, as students, do we actually know what financial services do essentially? So reading their websites and seeing the obviously application coming through university website, I felt reassured, and I done a bit of research around it, spoke to a couple of people, and the application process was quite nice. I really, really love the recruiting person from FactSet. Actually, I do talk to her quite often. She's like a mother for everyone who got hired in London, essentially, or in EMEA, like European region. And you go through 3 process interviews, unless that has changed. And you have assessment center, then you have as well the final interviews, and then after that, once you get hired, you don't join alone. There's a couple of people who are joining as well, so they usually tend to hire bulk of consultants at the same time, or at the time it's called client solution associates. So it feels a bit like graduate job in that sense. So you see a lot of your age people, and you go through the process together, and then you're trained for like 6 to 9 months. So you have intense training, and pretty much I would say that's the process.
Thank you. And what are your proudest moments at FactSet?
I think 12th of July is going to be my 3rd year anniversary at FactSet, and in 3 years, so many things can obviously happen. Apart from that, you have a lot of personal developments, moving to a new city, building up your own life. But if I can just purely look at FactSet and say, I definitely would say confidence to speak to people, confidence to lead meetings, conversations, being able to meet, CFOs, CEOs, very senior people, and feel like, yes, I did graduate from uni just like a year or 2 ago, but I'm going to speak to you equal, and I'm going to try to help you out or try to work with you. And obviously building that building that confidence and learning techniques, how to do, problem solving, all the transferable skills. I think that's would be my personal proudest moments of recognizing my growth and how being put into this kind of environment really helped me to develop my strengths that now I'm essentially my job is facing clients all the time,
Great.
24/7, which I would not have imagined back, being 18 or like 21.
Thank you. And what is your biggest challenge at FactSet that you faced?
Probably linked to the same aspect of obviously being, quite new to the industry, straight from uni. A lot of people you meet have gone through experience of having internships in different places, and it can feel like sometimes a bit minimizing, like, oh, do I have enough experience to be out there and feel confident that I'm able to give what I can? So I think the challenge is definitely fighting that and obviously learning how to work with people because at the end of the day, the hardest part is not working with projects, it's working with people because every person is unique. You need to work in a team, you need to work with a client, you have a manager to report. So learning how to navigate that and every person is different. It also can be a challenge sometimes, but it's quite rewarding because you learn how to, sometimes foresee what's the best approach.
Mhm.
So I would definitely say developing the skills, which will be long term really useful, but it can be challenging at the moment, especially when you're quite young and things are escalating and there's a client is angry or there's a project and something is not happening well. You're like, oh no, what should I do? So
So
yeah.
thank you very much. And does FactSet provide internships for students?
Yes, we do. We do provide internships and externships. Have you heard about externship
No,
before?
no.
So externship, I found out about it last summer when I was asked to be a mentor for externs. Essentially, externship is for students who you don't need to graduate or be last year of uni. You could
Mhm.
actually be the first 1 or 2 years of university and you could still apply for externship. It's a 1 to 2 weeks experience of basically being in the office, meeting our team, seeing essentially understanding what we do, seeing what FactSet platform is, learning a little bit about the workflows, like how the traders work, how the analyst works from side obviously using FactSet. And after externship, there's a second stage, basically internship, which I believe happens in the third or fourth year of university. And then after this, obviously, that's where the starting position client solution associate starts. So we do offer that. And personally, I've mentored interns who came back now and they're consultants themselves. I've mentored externs, and they are coming back right now, some of them as interns this summer. So you do see people returning with time.
Thank you very much. That's very interesting. And what advice would you give to students trying to get internships or externships?
And in general, I would say, I think definitely do your research and feel free to be proactive and a little bit of like, not crazy, but if you see someone working in the company on the LinkedIn, message them. It might feel overwhelming, and not gonna lie, I would be so scared to do it at the time as well. But being on the other side, seeing people reaching out to you, and even if I'll just say quick advice, but then I go back and say internally in my company, hey, actually, I heard this person was reaching out. I thought this was very daring. That's exactly what we need, that sort of energy. So I definitely would give an advice, do exactly, go on LinkedIn, reach out to people if you want, ask them for advice. People are very friendly, let's say at FactSet and many other places too. Also, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Even I did not have any internship in any of those companies. I had internship at my own university, in fact, and very different like field, and I still got the job. So even if you're not managing, everyone around you is getting internships and they're getting all the different experiences during summer, and you're not there because you can't afford it, you don't have time. It's okay. Everything will work out as well. So yeah, I'll say proactive, check, but obviously don't put too much pressure on yourself. Like,
Thank you very much for this advice. And how do you manage your time effectively? Any advices, tips for that?
yeah, I think work-life balance is a bit of a challenging one. Obviously, when you start a new job, and I feel like the life culture, the culture in London in particularly can with commuting and everything, or any big cities, it can get overwhelming because many companies, you see the pattern that people tend to work over 12 hours a day. So obviously read a lot about the company you're planning to apply or thinking about for internship, get an idea what's their culture like. I feel like in fact that I find it quite lucky. It can get busy sometimes, but everyone is very understanding. So I don't really sit until 10 o'clock in the evening. I usually start at 8:30, log off 5:30, the time that I have to. People, if they have families and stuff, there's also flexibility and understanding around that too. So definitely do that research. With FactSet, I saw really good review about the good workspace, so good environment, and that's why it was reassuring. And I can confirm a few years in, it is there. But also, you need to learn with time yourself how to manage your time, how to manage your expectations. Sometimes when you're young, you think you can do so many things, and I still feel this way sometimes. But then on the other hand, I'm like, I do need rest. So today I messaged my manager saying, I actually can't do a meeting today. I need my no meeting Friday because I am tired. And it's okay. So be honest and obviously make to-do list, find your organization method. Like I have my OneNotes, my to-do list, my calendar, notifications for myself. So
Yes, thank you very
yeah.
much for that. And how do you maintain good communications with your team, other teams that you work with, and the clients you work with?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think what's very important is to understand everyone is a person of their own and having expectation that you're going to be besties or best friend. Sometimes you watch Netflix movies, Emily in Paris, for example,
Yeah.
and you see how she's best friends with everyone. It's not reality. Reality is everyone is an adult person. They're here from 9 to 5 or whatever time they're in. And you might not sometimes be similar or you might not be fully getting along or whatever. You have the end goal, and that is work on the projects or fulfill the tasks. So I think having that understanding that everyone is different and you need to be welcoming and respectful, you have an integrity to the goal, it's very important for the team building. And also, like, it doesn't mean that you have to live in your shell. You need to try to be welcoming, but if it doesn't work out, don't pressurize yourself. So something that I was learning for myself when I joined. And obviously with clients, I think it's a little bit different. A similar thing, obviously, you need to understand what they want. You need to understand when they're not happy, when they're happy. You're working with the person, you need to validate what's their experience. And also be integral to your own work and transparent. So I'm big person who loves to create group chats, bring everyone together. I do think owning your mistakes, owning your problem, being honest about it can really help you build that trust with clients and also with the team. So I would probably advise just make sure to be transparent, be honest. But also don't have expectation that you're going to be besties and stuff. You're just going to have to manage the work professional relation.
Thank you very much. And would you recommend this career to others?
I genuinely would. I even to talking to my friends or family, I even sometimes even my clients when they say they have a child or someone in the family who is still at university, I genuinely say FactSet is a good place to start because what FactSet does, for example, it's when you go through the process, as I mentioned, you go to alongside with other people. It might not be always in London. It could be, your cohort from you kind of from as well in Europe. So you meet international people. You kind of go together through the process of training for 6 to 9 months. During this period, you go through intense learning, understanding what the industry is essentially what our clients are. We support multiple firm types. Personally, I work in asset management side of things and hedge funds, but we have wealth, we have sell side, we have a variety of clients. So you go through that understanding, learning what financial industry is, what the clients are, then you learn what the products are. And then you do it together. So it does feel a bit like a school environment in that sense. And it's very welcoming. So I feel like that support having as a first job is really good. And then people are friendly. And let's say from my personal, I feel like it's one highlight of FactSet office. It's very international. So it's very welcoming. People will welcome you. People will accept your diversity. They will support you. Like I can ping anyone in US and Australia, and I know they'll help me out. So I do recommend this as a good kind of starting point, definitely in career. And it's very smooth and welcoming.
Thank you. And in your opinion, what does it take to succeed in this field?
Um, I do feel like being on top of the news, being on top of the industry, understanding what's happening. Because if you don't know what's happening, let's say if what's happening in hedge fund industry, what's happening with asset manager, you know, you need to be able to be responsive. And as a company that provides services, you want to provide services to the client that they need in the given moment. And if in the given moment the market is not doing well, and or for example, AI, if the whole industry is buzzing about AI and you don't have AI to offer, you're doing something wrong. You need to be on top of it. If regulatory speaking, ESG is a priority for clients in UK, we want to be there to help you out with that. So we obviously want to work on that and be on top of it. So and even though I'm speaking from product point of view, but even working with clients, you need to understand the situations and being on top of the industry in this, so you'll be able to get that knowledge for yourself and help yourself develop. And then that will help you with maintaining conversations, being able to understand your own products. Why do we offer ESG? Why are clients so, why is it important criteria? When I studied accountancy, I didn't realize how important it was actually. Now I'm like, it's actually very important. So things like that, I guess just being on top of, maybe reading news and speaking to people, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, I think it's one of the main things. No one expects a 21-year-old to walk into the office and know it all. That's just unrealistic. You are there to ask questions and to learn.
Thank you very much for this advice. And a lot of students struggling with transition from academia to professional world. What advice would you give to these students?
To be honest, I feel like we are so in a rush after university to go into professional world, because everyone is getting jobs on LinkedIn, everyone has internships on LinkedIn. It's very overwhelming, so I definitely would advise good meditation and yoga and practice mindfulness during that time and allow yourself to give yourself peace. Don't follow the crowd, just the crowd does that, right? I was a victim of that as well. And I remember when I've done my thesis, I didn't want to stay in Aberdeen because there was COVID time, and I was like, I would need my life to start. I need my life to, to like,
Yeah.
I want to click the pause button and make my life open the new chapter straight away. So I moved down to London straight away without actually having a job while I was applying for jobs. And in the meantime, I told myself, okay, let me get a random job right now. And I worked as a barista for a few months. And during that time, I actually had flexibility to come down a little bit and figure out what I want to do. And I've applied for FactSet, and I was thinking of other opportunities. And I remember that time was actually some of my happiest time, because I gave myself freedom and I was nice to myself to tell, like, and said, you know what, it will all happen. Let me take this time in between. I'm still earning money. I can, support myself. I can meet my friends and family, but I'll take a bit of time doing my education, and, rather than like last year of uni being panicking and just hungry for any job. So I would definitely advise, take a bit of time in between. Nothing will happen to you if you take a few months. If you realize in the industry world, people, when they finish one job and they go to a new job, sometimes they take up to a couple of years. And that's also your only time you have that sense of holidays. If I want to go right now to India and travel for 3 months, I can't. It's just generally I have work responsibilities. I can take 3 weeks maybe. But before that, or in between jobs or between uni, you could do that. And you could generally just go, maybe, travel a bit, work a bit somewhere. In the meantime, do your online stuff, do your research, and then everything will happen, because it has to happen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And if you could go back in time, would you change anything about your experience at University of Aberdeen, or would you give yourself any advice?
I think I would. I definitely would tell myself, because a lot of things I started doing more in the second year, when I started going out a bit more, meeting more friends, meeting more, exploring different sports activities and stuff. And I feel first year I was a little more shut down. I would definitely advise myself to go and enjoy this from the start, to get the full exposure to the experience of being, knowing that I have a couple more years with my besties, with my friends, and all that experience. And also do a bit more research to understand long term where does my career, my degree will take me. Because I have a couple of friends who've done that research a bit later, and then they actually decided to change the degree, or they started a whole new degree because they realized later that actually, okay, it's no more school. I just finished uni. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. So I would say early on, yeah, I would probably sit down and educate myself so that I wouldn't be too stressed out later on, because that anxiety for the last year was not helpful. And definitely tell myself, hey, go crazy during your first year, because get out of your shell.